Indiana Jones is a flop. Whoa. And we're demonetized off YouTube. Who are we kidding? It's me. I'm almost demonetized. But yeah, obviously, obviously when it comes to Disney, Disney is not doing well when it comes to Indiana Jones. In fact, Disney has not done well when it comes to their last 8 videos or 8 movies they've put out. So, like the Elementals was a flop. I think that was Pixar though, although I think that's still Disney. Obviously, you know, like Indiana Jones is going to lose. People are saying anywhere up to $300 million it's going to lose. Yeah, it's The Flash is not doing well. The Flash is going to lose money. Like all these these movies are just, no one is liking them. No one is going to see them, and it's probably a few reasons we could probably get into for that. But let's break this down. So what do I mean by Indiana Jones is going to be a flop? Right? So 10 reasons Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny bombed at the box office. Now, to let you guys know, this is Screen Rant that is saying this. The establishment media is saying it flopped at the box office. Not like just me or Geeks and Gamers or Heel versus Baby Base or any of those guys, but even the establishment shills are saying this movie has flopped. So
That's surprising.
Yeah, so Disney's $295 million box office flop with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Or as I like to say it, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Diabetes. Bombed several significant reasons. Highly anticipated Indiana Jones 5 was kicked around for a while in development stages and finally seeing the light of day in 2023, 15 years after the last installment. Even after the incredible length of time Disney and Lucasfilms had to orchestrate Indiana 5, the box office failed to win over both critics and moviegoers on its worldwide opening weekend. So what do we mean by it being a failure, right? So the estimates that we've got for this is they've put this at around $300 million for cost of making the movie. Add about
expensive movie.
Yeah. Add another 100 to 150 million for advertising and marketing. Right? Especially considering it was at Cannes. That's not going to be cheap. All the advertisings, all the posters and everything like that they've done, none of that's going to be cheap. So you're adding probably another 150 mil at least for that. That brings the total up to $450 million. Now, what you've also got to remember too, movie cinemas take 50% of the profits.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if it goes through at the movie and makes $600 million at the movies for the domestic or international, say international, it does $600 million at the movie cinemas. That's only about $300 million for the LucasArts and Disney themselves. The other $300 million goes to the movie cinemas. So if it's cost them $300 million to make it, double it, because they're going to be paying half to the box office. That means they're up to around $600 million already, plus another $150 million at least for advertising. This means Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery has to make at around $750 to $800 million to break even. Not to make profit, but to break even. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near that. Actually, what is the box office?
Is there a reason why it's done so poorly?
Yeah. We'll get into that actually. Results for Indiana Jones 5. So, trying to find, maybe coming soon or say. It looks like you're using an ad block. Yes, of course I'm using an ad blocker. Um,
The war on ad block.
yeah, they really hate ad blocks, don't they?
Yeah, it's getting interesting with that.
Yeah. So it only made 16 million for its opening weekend domestically.
Gee, that's low. I mean, like most movies don't go that low. Like even a low budget movie should make more than that.
Well, if it's like a low budget to a medium budget film, 60 million domestic is good, right? But
Yeah, that's what I thought.
if it's like a high budget film, like dude, it's Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's also true. It's an Indiana Jones film, so it should
Bullwhips.
also do well.
Yeah, bullwhips, Harrison Ford. You know, the iconic hat. I grew up with, like Temple of Doom and we're definitely not mentioning Crystal Skull, but like Temple of Doom and all these sort of Indiana Jones movies, right? Like the iconic scene where like he's over in Arabia or somewhere like that, and the guy is like got the sword and going yeah, and then Indiana just pulls out a gun and shoots him. Right, that's typical Indiana Jones, but they've left all that behind, and this new Indiana Jones is basically it's they've. So they went through and they killed his son off screen. They went through and made it so that Indiana Jones's son went and joined the U.S. Army to fight in Vietnam and gets killed. But he has this student, this goddaughter, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, right, or Fleabag, and she's just, from everything I'm hearing, she's just so frigging annoying.
What, the actress?
Yeah, she's like the actress and also the character too that plays. She tries to kill Indiana Jones twice in the movie. She makes constant remarks about him being old. There's literally a scene where they go through and Indiana Jones says, "You stole it from me," and then the Nazi guy says, "And then I stole it from you." And then she turns around and says, "And then I stole it from you," pointing at the Nazi. And then she turns around and says, "That's capitalism."
Oh dear God.
Yeah, it's one of these woke Hollywood. We could probably say. Yeah.
Is he old and white?
Who? Indiana Jones?
Because yeah, he's old and white, right? That's the issue.
Yeah.
Old white man,
Yeah, and like he's like, and like the students don't respect him, and it's just, and according to the leaks, because we had the script for Indiana Jones, friends of mine had it for like 18 months ago because it leaked like a sieve. According to them, the original script was far worse. In the original script, it was actually planned that Indiana Jones would die at the end of the show, and because they've gone back in time, spoilers alert, everybody. Don't worry, you probably won't see this movie. It's shocking. No one wants to go and see it. They go back in time, and because they've gone back in time and young Indiana Jones dies, he's not there to do the scenes for the first 3 or 4 movies because he's basically wiped himself out of the timeline. So what happens was they then had Phoebe Waller-Bridge, or Fleabag, go through and reenact the iconic scenes from the first 3 movies. And it was like basically a way of Hollywood saying they're literally retconning their Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones and replacing him with a female version. Like, this was the original script. This is how bad the Indiana Jones films were. Now,
that's awful.
Yeah. Now, obviously, thank God they've gone through and it did not do well. A lot of people hated it when they did a test audience. So they went through and they've done some reshooting and stuff like that, and they've got rid of all that sort of stuff now. But it's still pretty bad. Like, that line with, like, "That's capitalism" is still in the show.
No one goes to watch a Indiana. Okay, actually, I should back up.
Yeah,
No one goes to watch a fantasy film
yeah,
with commentary like that.
no. And John says, like John says in chat, they went full Bud Light.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Don't do that. Don't go full
no,
Bud Light.
no, yeah. But that's what I say. Like at the end of the day, like obviously at the end of the day, this film is terrible. It's this woke ESG score, and we'll probably do another video, guys, talking about the ESG score. But like it's this
Oh
woke
yeah.
ESG score stuff, and it's cancerous because no one wants to see it. No, like you say, no one wants to go and see Indiana Jones and see him get berated by some 20-year-old twat who
Yeah.
is this arrogant see you next Tuesday while also trying to kill the guy that we've watched the first 4 movies with. Like, she literally locks him in a room. Spoilers, everybody. She locks him in one of the rooms with the guy that's already killed 2 people, who's his enemy, and basically sets him up to die. Like, she's not a nice person. She's actually a real see you next Tuesday. And they don't understand why no one likes her. But yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And not only that, but the funniest part about all this stuff is that people have gone through and people have been sharing photos of their cinemas and showing
It's
how
just empty.
showing how full these cinemas are, right? Like here's one here.
Oh yeah.
So
We'll
for
do yeah, inversion. Yeah, how
yeah
full it is. Yeah.
yeah, so 4 p.m. right?
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27 seats are unavailable. Now, it looks like there's a whole row there that's been unavailable for some reason. Presumably, I'm going to be charitable and I'm going to say they're people booking seats. But to me, this looks like this row that this one of these rows looks like it's unavailable because it's like disabled seats or whatever it may be, right? They're like in the middle, close to the front, stuff like that. I think they've probably made them disabled or unavailable for a certain reason. Maybe it's like a party or something like that, right?
Mm.
But out of this whole cinema here, which probably sits, what, 150, 100, 200 people, there's about 20 people here. There's one here where they're going through. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 seats for this one. Now this is a 6:30 p.m. Right? Dolby Atmo, luxury, 6:30 p.m. Presumably, I'm presuming this is on a weekend. And they were able to sell 20 seats. Here's another one. Has about the same. I think it was Nerd Erotic went through and uploaded a photo when he went and saw it. And basically it was pretty much empty. The whole cinema was basically just empty.
Goodness.
But this is the thing, right? That no one wants to go and see. No one wants to see Indiana Jones be berated by.
Yeah.
Jones 5 empty seats. No, I can't find anything for empty seats. But no one wants to go and see Indiana Jones get berated by this 20-something-year-old twat. Yeah.
Yeah, I've I'll just commit heresy right here on stream and just say I've never actually seen not one of those movies. But I've never seen an Indiana Jones movie, but
They're quite
I
good.
mean, in general, I know certain things will not work with an audience, and one
Yeah.
of those is um, you don't treat the main. He's a protagonist, right? Not an antagonist.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't treat the main protagonist in that way.
No.
The audience doesn't like it.
And I've said to people, if you want to go and watch a good Indiana Jones film, the first three. Forget Crystal Skull and forget this last one. So, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery. Domestic chart for Tuesday, the 4th of July. Now, obviously, this is during the week. Today has only made $11 million for the whole day.
Terrible.
Yeah. So the gross total it's at the moment is sitting at $83 million. Total gross.
Yeah, it's a failure.
Yeah. They're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars off this thing.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. John says in chat, I'd like to go see a movie if Indiana went back in time with Marty McFly to save Sarah Connor just to stop Skynet from coming online. That's tell you what, John, that'd probably be a better movie than Indiana Jones 5 at the moment.
It's actually not a bad plot.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't mind doing that, but use the cast of Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Oof. What's the name from Firefly? Oh, she's a little hardy.
Yeah, and also the older woman too. She's nice too.
I'm blanking on
The
her
one
name.
that played. Yeah, I can't
Sarah
remember her.
Connor. Yeah.
The one that plays the Sarah Connor role. Yeah, she's pretty hot too. Yeah.
So here's a
But
photo.
definitely uh, something Blau.
No.
Well, the one you're talking about, the young
Oh,
hottie.
yeah.
Something Glau. It's something Glau. I
Yeah,
think her
Simon.
name is.
Yeah, she's from Firefly.
Summer Glau.
Glau.
That's it.
Yeah, she's from Firefly.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. Here's a photo here, guys, of someone's taken of their cinema, and it looks like there's about 10 seats, 15, 20 seats. Like, the vast majority of the cinema is just empty.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
No,
And
like I think a part of this, I think maybe a partial discussion on this might be worthy though.
yeah,
There is part of it is going to be the wokeness that causes problems.
yeah.
Another part of it though is you have noticed that overall interest in going out to the cinema is actually way down.
Well,
Just in general.
I would push back against that and say that's not true when it comes to like Top Gun or Mission Impossible.
Okay. So blockbuster stuff that's supposed to do well does do well still.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, okay. Because I don't know. I just heard like I've seen some stats out there that like since the human malware, there was that the cinema industry didn't quite bounce back, and it never really has.
I
But yeah, if you're saying that it did in some regards, then yeah, it's fine.
So, like, for example, like we have Mission Impossible coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
I will be going and seeing that this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully, I'm trying to find my little friend and find out what time she's available, and then taking her. So at the end of the day, I was going to say, like, I think what it is it comes down to people might be more picky about what they go and see, but if the movie is still worth it, they'll go and see it.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah, so like Top Gun or Mission Impossible or even like, for example, John Wick 4. What was the total for John Wick? John Wick 4 earnings. So John Wick domestic $187 million, International was $245 million.
Jeez.
Total box office worldwide, $432 million.
Oh well, then again, I'd say John Wick is actually pretty popular,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
but that movie cost something like, I presume, it was about 100 million to make.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. Well,
They spent way too much money on this other one. Yeah.
the thing is that with John Wick was they had a solid plan and they stuck to it. With Indiana Jones, the reports that we're getting is that they had mass amounts of reshoots.
Jeez.
How much did John Wick 4 cost to make? Yeah, $100 million. So like they've banked like roughly about $325 million.
I presume the massive amount of reshoots has to do with the changing of the wokeness, right?
Yeah. Sorry. It didn't make 300. It only made 200 million. Because you have to half the box office. So it made 425 at the box office divided by two. It made roughly about a 200 and something $1 million at the box office. And it cost 100 million to make. So they made about $100 million profit. But yeah, that's the report is that at the end of the day that with not John Wick, sorry, Indiana Jones, is that there was a lot of reshoots that had to be done because of like the ending and stuff. People just did not like it. People did not like Fleabag. People didn't want to go and see this Indiana Jones because they're basically they're destroying Indiana Jones in this film. It literally is. It's a bait and switch. It's an Indiana Jones film, but set up so that Fleabag would be the person that takes over.
What's with the Fleabag name? That's hilarious.
Because of one of the characters that she used to play before Indiana Jones, the show before that, I think they called her Fleabag. I think.
Okay, it's just I think it's funny.
Yeah, so everybody just calls her Fleabag. But that's what I was going to say. Was at the end of the day, like, look. And look, obviously they've changed it now. It's not as bad as it was, but like it's still pretty bad. Like like anybody that's listening to this later, go just after this, go and Google search Indiana Jones review. Watch someone like from Nerderotic or Geeks and Gamers or Heel versus Babyface talking about like Indiana Jones. Like, dude, Angry Joe was furious with Indiana Jones.
He's generally just furious. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's face it, Angry Joe, as much as we love and hate him, he's always been a bit of a I don't want to say like a CUCK, but he's sort of like he's always been like too afraid to speak out against movies or games that
he's a little bit lefty. To be fair, he's a little bit lefty.
He's a lot lefty, but he's been afraid to push out against movies that push these certain agendas because he's afraid of being cancelled, and I get it. Right?
Yeah.
Hell, my YouTube channel got demonetized 4 times in 1 year. I think that's some sort of record actually, but that's what I say.
I have never heard of 4 times in 1 year. That's wow, well done.
Yeah, we got hit 4 times, but I had to set up times like reminders for like when the channel would be able to be remonetized, because you have to wait 3 months after being demonetized. And I would literally go through, put in the application that day. They would then go through and accept it, and then the next day they would demonetize it yet again. I'm a little bit slow when it comes to the YouTube censorship. But like even Angry Joe has like spoken out about how bad Indiana Jones is. So
yeah, that's a little. I mean, yeah, it's a bit surprising.
Yeah, but anyway,
but good on him. Good on him for standing up for something.
Yeah,
he got a backbone a little bit.
Yeah, good on him. But apart from that, obviously, Disney's harsh new reality, costing film flops, creative struggles, and shrinking global box office. And in this, they're talking about Ant-Man, Indiana Jones, and the Elementals. All three have been flops. In fact, people have gone through and looked into the last 8 movies from Disney, and I believe all of them have lost money.
I wonder if it's a Disney thing.
Not really, because like MCU's losing money too. Although MCU
Oh,
is Disney as well, I suppose. But
do you think maybe there's just there must be like what do you call fatigue? Superhero movie fatigue.
I,
Com I
nah,
don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot you could unpack with this, like just trying to figure it out, you know?
I don't think it's necessarily superhero fatigue, because at the end of the day, other like Mission Impossible, I expect Mission Impossible to do really really well at the box office.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
probably. When's the last time a Mission Impossible movie came out, though?
oh, a few years ago, I think Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah, all right. I'm just thinking, like,
So
there's only so many movies you can make, you know?
Fallout was in 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
not that long ago.
yeah, and like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which is 7, is actually part 1. So there's part 1 and part 2. So he's got 7 and 8 planned. Um, Look, at the end of the day, like you look at John Wick, they're planning on making John Wick 5.
Yeah, John Wick is just popular. I know that. Like,
But
that
it also doesn't have the politics in it.
true, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just good. It's just a damn good movie.
Yeah.
Like they're just good movies. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Is at the end of the day, being a good movie definitely helps.
Yes.
But you can't have a bad movie and then put a whole bunch of political messages in it as well and expect it to do well. The only movie that's actually done well over the past couple of months that's actually got politics involved is the new Spider-Man movie, where they have like protect trans kids on a poster in the background. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, don't get me started. But at the end of the day, it's like there's that, but that one's done well. But that's like a poster that's in the background. The
Yeah, that
Flash.
reminds me. That reminds me of a game I played a little while ago, and I'm just like, yeah, this is a really good game, and it was an indie developer. I think it was
Yeah.
like 2 guys making the game or something. They were Russian, so the game never got fully finished, unfortunately,
Mm,
because the politics of the thing in Ukraine.
yeah.
But like, uh, I saw nothing woke in it, and then all of a sudden, while walking through one of the main buildings, there was a poster on the wall, and it was like a woman power type poster,
Oh God. Yeah.
feminism.
Yeah.
But like, it was the one thing I saw through the whole game from start to finish, and I just didn't care. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool
Yeah.
with that. I don't care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Look,
Like,
my problem with this Disney and all this sort of stuff is that they're beating people over the head with it.
yeah, you get too aggressive with it, and
Yeah.
it annoys people.
So, like, obviously, some of you may know, and I think I've spoken to you about this. We're doing a machinima for Star Citizen. We are deliberately trying to stay away from politics as much as we can. Um, the reason is because we want to just make a damn good show. So
Yeah,
we're not.
sometimes politics is there because of some other reason. Like that
Mm,
there are like there's a thing I remember hearing about. Like one thing the left is correct about
yep.
is that there's tends to be politics in just about everything if you
True.
really dig down into something, right?
True.
Like often a lot of stuff has politics. It's unavoidable.
Yep.
But one of the interesting things about it is that in context, you got to look at the context of it.
Hmm.
Like often politics is there because of an unavoidable thing that no one cares about and it makes sense in the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
And,
just one
and
way to
that's
put it, I
that's the
guess.
same with us, right? Is at the end of the day, obviously, is that we have to have a certain amount of politics in the show for the machinima, but it's like a left or right thing. It's more about like piracy and stuff like that. And I don't want to get too much into it because spoilers. But like, obviously,
But that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But obviously,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones final sees a box office success after just really. So apparently, ITM is claiming there's a success after disastrous Chinese flop. Yeah, okay, ITM if you think, but obviously, when it comes to like Indiana Jones, there is a lot of copium that is being passed around. It's sort of like the Hunter Biden cocaine thing. The media is deliberately trying to just like, yeah.
Just to be clear, the issue is it's flopped. It has flopped in the West, right? You sure about that?
No, it's flopped in China too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it's flopped there too. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. All right.
yeah. So it's
So they're
flopped.
just copium. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they're
just
just copium.
it's pure copium. Yeah, like I don't see $80 million so far as a hit for a movie.
No.
Not when it costs you 300 million to make it, another 150 to 100 to 150 million to advertise it. Like I said, this movie is going to have to make anywhere up to $800 million
Mm,
to break
yeah,
even.
it's not going to do that.
Now, obviously, at the end of the day, the big question that a lot of people are having is will this be the end of Kathleen Kennedy? Because so far she has destroyed Indiana Jones, she's destroyed Star Wars, she has destroyed almost every IP she's destroyed Willow. She's basically destroyed every IP that she's touched.
Damn.
Well, yeah, she's
Wow,
like
she's toxic.
yeah, and like there was an interview just recently where someone was being interviewed, and they were talking about Kathleen Kennedy, and
Yeah.
they said that when they first met her, she was she actually worked on the first Indiana Jones film, right? But she was sort of like there as like an admin sort of staff girl thing. She was supposed to be there just to take notes, and he said that her note taking was bad, but the thing about her was that she would constantly interrupt the meetings to pitch ideas that were different than the direction they wanted to go. So, like for example, they'll turn around and they'll say, right now at the end of the film, Indiana Jones gets the girl, and she would then pipe up and say, well, what if he doesn't get the girl? What if he gets the dog instead? And
Oh, that's a feminist thing. Yeah.
yeah, and they were saying that even back then, they could detect like this like massive like feminist thing when it came to Kathleen Kennedy. And look at the end of the day, girl power. You girls go, you do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, like there's a point where you just start bashing people over the head with it, and it really does turn people off. But as I say, she's basically destroyed everything she's touched. Star Wars is destroyed. No one's seeing Star Wars. No one's seeing Indiana Jones. No one's seeing Willow. They removed Willow from the Disney Plus streaming service because it was costing them more to store it on there than they were making from it. But that's how bad Willow was going.
Wow.
But yeah, but apart from that, is there anything else we want to talk about before we go on to the next subject? Or
I think we're good.
yeah, no worries.